Welcome to Love by Design, the podcast for high achieving women who are ready to stop performing for love and start building it from truth, from alignment. Hello, and welcome back to Love by Design. This is Joan. So, I want to talk more about relationships. So, you choose a partner and you think, okay, I'm choosing this person for love, for companionship, for happiness. But here's the kicker. Intimate relationships somehow have a way of bringing out the parts of you that you pretended doesn't exist. And I'm not talking about the physical ugliest parts of you. No, I'm talking about your emotional ugliest. These are the parts that you've probably spent many, many years hiding, avoiding, suppressing. And then magically, on some random day in the relationship, you just snap and you just scream out, oh my God, you are so this and that and that. And your partner's there looking at you thinking, who is this monster? The truth is that the monster was always there. Your partner did not create that monster. Your partner only just revealed it. And that is the whole point of a relationship. So yes, maybe you didn't sign up for a teacher, but your soul did. I've been talking about this for a while now. We've learned a lot about what relationships are, or we've been told, because they're not necessarily true. But we have been led to believe certain narratives about what relationships are. And the movies, at least for me, that was one of the first places where I thought I learned about relationships. And it was all about the butterflies in your belly, the lifting you off the floor and giving you that first kiss, and then you just jet up into sunset, and that was the end of it. So it was always around, if you found the right person, they will make you happy, you'll stay excited forever, you will feel fulfilled, and that's that. And it's somewhere in our mind, somewhere in our unconscious mind, we keep chasing that high, that spark, that chemistry, and it's great. But what it does is we meet this person and right away we start thinking, you're the best thing since sliced bread. Well, here's the thing about sliced bread. Even the greatest sliced bread goes bad after a few weeks. And that's what happens in a lot of relationships. The initial spark fades pretty quickly. It used to be 2 to 3 months. Now I'm hearing it's like 2 to 3 days. But the sparks fade, chemistry starts to dull, and now you're left questioning rather pretty quickly, why am I even with this person? Because again, we go back to thinking that relationships are meant to be excitable and meant to make us happy all the time. But that is not the deeper purpose of relationships. Relationships are here to surface everything that you've been avoiding, everything that you haven't paid attention to, every wound or pattern that you haven't healed. The relationship is going to bring it out. You will be triggered. That is for sure. And that's not a bug. That is a feature. And it's a great one if you ask me. I heard Marianne Williamson say that relationships are a hospital for the soul, and that cracked me up because it's true. Your partner is like this doctor who is constantly diagnosing you and just showing you areas where you still need healing. But yes, they show you the areas and they trigger you, but they're also meant to be there to hold space for that healing. And you for them as well, because it's all about mutual work. And another fascinating thing that I learned recently was that being in a relationship is way more, in terms of your healing journey, it's way more potent than 3 to 5 years in therapy, because the relationships will surface the things that you need to work on. So there's no pretending. You can't suppress forever. You can't pretend forever. Everything is about to be brought out to the table. And if you're anything like me, there's some that still surprise me. There are some parts of me that show up and I'm like, who is this person? I didn't know that even existed. But with the right person, it gets triggered. And now I have the chance to look into that, to face it, and then to heal from it. So if a relationship doesn't trigger you, chances are you're not going to be growing. A relationship is not here to make you happy all the time. A relationship is here to help you evolve, to awaken you to the highest version of yourself. So the shift now becomes, rather than just desiring or hoping that the relationship will always make you happy, will always make you feel good, will make you feel complete, will look good on paper, look good on social media, pay my bills, dot, 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 whatever else your expectations of relationships are. We need to look at relationships differently, where a relationship should show me where I still need to heal. So rather than trying to avoid people who trigger you, it is please give me someone, send me someone who can trigger the unconscious parts of me that I'm not aware of. And that's when a relationship really starts to serve the deeper purpose. So, partnership, like I always say, is a mirror. Everybody you attract into your life is a reflection of you, is a mirror, is here to show you something about you. I had an ex, Italian, super passionate, and he talked a lot and very fast. And he would always say things to me like, Amore, you should maybe not do this that way. Amore, you should wear this instead of that. Amore, you should maybe go here or not go there. Oh, and every time he would say you should, I will be triggered. And I didn't know why I was so triggered. But this wasn't like, oh, just sulk for 2 minutes. This was like total shutdown. This is shutdown for days. And they never understood it because I'd never been triggered that way. How could one word trigger me so much? And it took a few sessions of therapy to really get to where this trauma was coming from. And it turned out that it was from when I was younger, when my parents would always say to me, you should be more like this person or be more like your sister. And that was a recurring theme in my household. And that created a wound. It created this wound that maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I need to be like somebody else. Maybe I need to hide certain parts of me. Maybe I need to be more of this and less than this. Maybe the true me is just not wanted. And so I spent lots of years trying to perform to be the version that will be more accepted, be more lovable. And so when I think about it now, my partner wasn't creating the wound. No, he was just mirroring it back to me. And it was something that I wasn't even aware of, or I had suppressed it so much that I didn't even know that it existed. But in the time, in the moment, of course I blamed him. Of course I threatened to leave him. Of course I tried to not have the deeper conversations around it because it hurt. Because I felt if you loved me, you would not trigger me. But now I can look back and say, thank you. Thank you for showing me that wound in me that without him, I probably wouldn't have known. I've had other partners in the past. None of them have been able to trigger that particular wound. Every relationship that you meet is part of the curriculum, and it's a new lesson that you probably need to heal from, or something that is meant to take you to the next level in your evolution. So embrace it. Don't try to avoid it, and definitely don't run away from it. And if you don't heal from it, guess what? You're just going to repeat it. It's going to be the same pattern in the next person. You will keep attracting the people that will be the right mirrors, that will unearth those wounds, those patterns, so that you can finally do the work. And why is it so important to do this work? Well, if you don't do the work, if you have abandonment wounds, for instance, you always keep attracting people who leave you or people who feel like they're unavailable, right? If you have the I'm not enough wounds, you will attract people who will constantly criticize you, who will constantly compare you, just like I did. If you have control wounds, then you attract people who try to manage you, people who try to suppress you, to make you shrink, to make you be smaller. When you still carry unhealed wounds, they become the most magnetic part of you. Because again, like I said, it's all a curriculum. It's the next lesson in your journey. So you'll be magneted to people who are able to trigger those experiences in you. And once you heal from the pattern, that's over. Now it's time for the next one. And you keep going and you keep going and you keep evolving and you keep growing. So I want to say something here though, and this is a very, very critical nuance. Not every triggering relationship is a teacher. I repeat, not every triggering relationship is a teacher. Some relationships are just harmful, and there's no need to be in those relationships. And you would always know if you listen to your body, you would know whether this trigger is helping you grow or whether you're just being abused. You would know whether there's respect even when there's conflict, versus somebody just trying to belittle you and to treat you like crap, right? So it's very important to know that when you feel diminished, when you feel threatened, when you feel unheld, when you feel like your boundaries are not being respected or they're being violated, or the constant criticism and there's just nothing happening, it's all about manipulation, gaslighting, emotional abuse, then you know that's not what I'm talking about here. That is not a relationship that is helping you grow. That is a relationship that is trying to break you. So I would say do not stay in an abusive relationship and call it shadow work. That is not shadow work. That is not spiritual growth. That is tolerating harmful situations. So discernment is very, very key, and you need to know when to walk away. So what happens when you're triggered? Because you will be triggered, like I said. What happens? Well, always pause. And sometimes that pause is so difficult because you're triggered, you're activated, your nervous system is about to go gaga. But if you're able to pause, then you're on your way to the healing. Don't react immediately. Don't attack them. Definitely don't be like me. Don't shut down for 2 days. Just pause. Just pause. And then ask yourself, what is this trigger trying to show me about myself? Not, oh my God, why is he like that? He always does this. Why am I tolerating? No, no, no. It's not about them. It's about you. What is this trigger trying to show me about myself? And why am I reacting so strongly to this? Whether it was a word or something that they did. And then spend time to try to trace it back. For me, I couldn't do it myself. Yeah, I had to go to therapy to figure that out. But if you can sit with it and try to think back to, where have I felt this before? Who has said something similar? What did I learn as a child that is probably being triggered right now? Because a lot of our wounds come from our childhood. And then when you've done that internal process, you can have a conversation with your partner, because again, remember that they're there to hold space. So you can ask them to hold space. You can say, well, this is my wound. So for me, it will sound something like, well, when you say the word should, it triggers that lack of self-worth in me, where I feel like I'm not being good enough and I'm being compared to somebody else. This is my wound and I'm working on it. I have to own it. But can you hold space for me while I heal through this? And if it's the right partner, he would be willing to hold space. And then make sure that you do the work to heal from it. Like for me, I did therapy, I did EMDR. You can do somatic work, EFT tapping, whatever it takes. There's so many modalities out there. You have to heal the wound so that it stops controlling you, so that the trigger loses its power. And that's when you know that you're healing, where the same thing can happen another time and you're not as triggered. It doesn't mean that you might not be emotional or you won't feel anything, but you might not be as reactive as you were before. And then you just get to witness and see you evolving. And if you have an amazing partner, then they're there to hold you as well. So, but here are some things, some key requirements. Both partners must be willing to grow. That's a non-negotiable. Both partners must be willing to look at their wounds. I know someone who, one time I told him about my wounds and he constantly used it against me. You don't want that. Both partners must be willing to take responsibility. One person cannot carry consciousness for two. Both people have to be growing. If only one person is growing and the other person is there just criticizing, it's not going to work. So you can't force someone to heal. You can't make someone want to grow. They either want it for themselves or they don't want it. Sometimes you can lead by example and invite them into the work, but if they refuse, then you can make the decision for yourself. Can I stay here or is this complete? So here's what relationships really, really, really teach you. They teach you that, one, you can't control another person. You can only control your response. It's always about you. Your partner is teaching you where you're still unconscious, where you're growing, you're still wounded, and where you're healed, where you're abandoning yourself, and where you are being in your authentic self and staying in the right relationship. So next time your partner triggers you, make sure you pause. Make sure you ask, what is this trying to show me? Make sure you do the work and make sure you heal from it. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. And if it stirred something in you, trust that Alignment isn't a concept, it is a calling. And if you're feeling the nudge to take this work deeper, then I want you to go ahead and book your Aligned Love Assessment, where we map your patterns, reveal what's keeping you stuck, and explore your journey to aligned love. You can book your session at joannwosu.com. That's Jon. Until next time, remember, you're not here to earn love, you're here to embody it. So keep dating by design, not by default. See you next week.